Sam he's like the 14-year-old kid that stole the family car. He doesn't have a driver's license. He got 8 of his high school friends in the car, and then he found out that there's like $100,000 of cash, a bunch of drugs, and a gun in the car. And then they went joyriding for Saturday night.
Wow.
And the entire thing ends, horrifically with the car wrapped around a tree, half the people high. And maybe he's an honor student in high school, but the point is he was not ready to drive the car. If he had 30 years of experience, if he was surrounded by 200 good attorneys and accountants and banking credit managers, then they would know what they don't know, and maybe they could have constructed a company that might have managed this amount of risk. He basically incompetently, foolishly, greedily, enthusiastically pursued what he thought was a good idea, but he didn't have the combination of the real world experience and the ethics and the legal understanding and the banking understanding to even know what he didn't know. So is it criminal? Absolutely, it's criminal. It's like if you roll over a bunch of people in a car and kill them all, it's illegal, right? But at the end of the day, it's not clear to me that Sam understands what he did wrong now. Like, for example, what did he do wrong? There's accounting fraud here. There's basically equity fraud by creating an air token. There's all sorts of credit fraud. There's investor fraud, misrepresenting the equity you sold the investors. There's self-dealing. He issued himself loans. There's front running. There's insider trading. There's wash trading. There's such a litany of ethical and legal lapses. But if you look at all the coverage in the crypto world, they miss the fundamental issue, which is it's illegal and unethical to issue your own air token. I mean, that the entire premise of the industry, an exchange that trades unregistered securities and an issuer of unregistered securities, that fundamentally is unethical everywhere in the world, illegal nearly everywhere in the world. Yet they built the business on that premise. On top of that premise, then he inflated the accounting values, built backdoors into the exchange.
There's just nonstop illegal stuff going on.
The exchange, just to be clear, was unethical and illegal from the very beginning. It's illegal to do what they did in the U.S., and it's unethical if you think I am front-running my customers, issuing a token, manipulating the price of the token, dumping it on them.
If you did that in stocks, you're going to jail if you front-run.
It's absolutely illegal, right? FTX was its own regulator, its own market maker, its own exchange, the issuer, right? All at the same time. This is such a and the hedge fund. Too much conflict of interest. So, but the three constituencies are the VC that put the $2 billion into FTX. They were supporting basically an offshore, unregulated casino, running in opaque fashion, account of the interest of its own customers. They didn't ask for a board seat. They didn't do due diligence. They were chasing what they thought was insane gains, right? FTX is showing a company that goes from 50 million in revenue to 500 million in revenue to $1 billion in revenue, and they thought they just had the next great thing. So, Sam lies that any con, right? It's like, I think I'm getting a deal that's too good to be true, and the con man is lying to me. We're all lying to each other, and so that's the first $2 billion goes down the drain. There's another $4 billion or something like that in just loans made by, crypto industry. I think Alameda borrowed hundreds of millions and billions of dollars from Genesis, from Three Arrows, from Voyager, from Celsius, from, BlockFi, etc. So it's like if you start with this fiction that FTT is a real thing. If I create, again, like yo-yo token and I manipulate the price up to $10 billion by trading 2% of the float, if you think it's a real thing and I act like it's a real thing, then I pledge it as collateral and you give me real stuff for an air thing. And so there's like $4 billion of that, and they went and they lost half of that. That was part of the reason that Voyager and BlockFi going bankrupt. And the reason that Sam wanted to bail them out is he didn't want to actually have the loans called, right? He was actually trying to buy BlockFi and buy Voyager with FTX equity, which of course is fraudulent and worth nothing, but if I borrowed $1 billion from a company and they want the money back, and I can simply give them $1 billion of equity, take over the company, and not pay the loan back, I can roll the entire fraud forward. So that's the second. The third is, this is also diabolical. FTX said, well, we're built by traders for traders, and Sam bragged that they only charge like 3 basis points trading fee, and he was 30 times cheaper than Coinbase or much cheaper than Binance. So he's stealing customers off of the other crypto exchanges by, in essence, offering near free trading. He's not trying to make money off the trading. He's trying to actually get the assets on his platform, because once he had the assets on his platform, he basically used FTX like his own personal piggy bank. It's like there's $10 billion there. Everybody else is going to get wiped out if their margin positions trade down 20% for a minute, except Alameda. Alameda has God mode. They never get margin called. So in an exchange, like in the US, it's illegal to go more than 50% loan to value. That means you're kind of like, you start with $1 million, you borrow 500,000, you're 1.5x levered. Okay, well, FTX started with 100x leverage, and then they backed it down to the responsible 20x leverage, which means that you post $1 million and you can take a $20 million position.
Okay. Who allows that?
Now here's the insane. What if I put $1 billion of air token, FTT, on the exchange? I recognize you and I let you take a $10 billion bet. Like, whatever, you took a $10 billion bet, now you withdraw $4 billion of real cash and you use that to buy property and buy everything under the sun. So Sam basically, he scraped billions from unsuspecting investors in Silicon Valley. They should have known better. He took billions from crypto hedge funds and crypto banks like BlockFi and Voyager. They should have known better. And then he took probably 10 billion or more from depositors on his exchange. They have the best argument. It's like they were staring at terms and conditions that said he's not going to rehypothecate or use their assets. And he just, he lured them with the promise of cheap trading, high leverage. And, if you thought, well, Sam is manipulating the price of FTT and Serum and Solana, and he was, right? That's illegal and unethical, right? It's a pump and dump scheme. We talked about this before. But if you accept the idea that crypto tokens that are issued by some offshore, dude are okay, then you're thinking, well, I guess I want to go buy some of that and get behind Sam and Alameda because they're going to drive the price up. And I think Solana went from $3 to, what did it go to 50? It went way up, and FTT went to $50 a token or something. So you could have made a lot of money trading those tokens, but you probably would have wanted to go to the FTX exchange because, guess what? Newsflash, it's illegal in the US. Wow.